Hello students, in last class we have discussed about the polarization of the light. What do you mean by the polarization and what do you mean by the polarites? What is path size of the polarite? And then we have discussed even plane of polarization and plane of vibration. The plane in which electric field vector is vibrating is called plane of vibration, and the plane which is normal to the plane of vibration and normal to the plane of vibration, there no vibrations will be takes place is called plane of polarizer. Then what methods are there to polarize? Methods of polarizing, methods of polarization. Methods of polarization. What do you mean by the what methods are we have polarized? So we can get the polarized light by reflection, and even we may get the polarized light by the refraction, and even we may get the polarized light by the scattering. So different methods are there to get the polarized. Let me discuss one by one. First one, polarization by the reflection of the light. Polarization by the reflection of light. So what do you mean? How do we get the polarization by the reflection? So when we have taken, when light passes from one medium to the other medium, when an unpolarized light is incident on a surface separating two media, what would be happen? You can see that the symbol. What is this one? Arrow mark, which is dot, that represents the light is propagating or vibrating in all directions. Then it represents the ordinary light or unpolarized. So whenever an unpolarized light is incident on a boundary separating two media, here refractive index of second medium is mu. In general, we know that whenever the light is incident on a surface separating two media, then a part of light is refracted into the second medium and a part of light is reflected into the same medium. Now whenever the light is incident on a boundary separating two media, what will happen? A part of light gets refracted, then this is what we call as a angle of refraction. Now a part of light gets reflected. So that what will be happen here? If we change the angle of incidence, as you change the angle of incidence, angle of reflection also changes. So that the angle of refraction also changes. So what we know from laws of reflection, angle of reflection is equal to angle of incidence. Now as we change the angle of incidence, then the angle of reflection also changes. Now the degree of polarization of the light also changes. Is it? When unpolarized light is incident, when an unpolarized light is incident on a boundary separating two media, what would happen? A part of light gets reflected and a part of light gets refracted. Now, for particular, as we change the angle of incidence, for a particular angle of incidence, the reflected light is completely plane polarized. So you would get the light completely plane polarized. Is it completely plane polarized? reflected light is completely plane. Whereas refracted ray gets partially polarized. Refracted ray gets partially polarized. This is nothing but partially polarized. Partially polarized. This is what completely polarized. Completely polarized, is it? So whenever the light passes from one optical medium to the another optical medium, a part of light gets retracted and a part of the light is reflected. So for particular angle of incidence, the light ray gets reflected completely plane polarized. Is it? Completely plane polarized. Now for what angle of incidence here it is I? Angle of incidence here, what it is? I, angle of incidence. Now the angle of incidence at which light, reflected light is completely plane polarized, and this angle of incidence is called polarizing angle. Polarizing angle. So when an uncontrolled light is incident on a boundary separating two media, for particular angle of incidence, for particular angle of incidence, the reflected ray completely plane polarized. Completely plane polarized. Whereas refracted ray gets partially polarized. Refracted ray gets partially polarized. Partially polarized. Is it okay? Now let me explain what you call this angle. At what angle is the light will get reflection? This angle, the angle at which reflected light rays get completely plane polarized, and this angle is called polarizing angle or Brewster's angle. On honor of the name of the scientist Brewster's, that angle is given as a Brewster's angle. Polarizing angle. Polarizing angle or Brewster's angle, even we call it as a Brewster's angle. Brewster's angle. So what do you mean by the angle of Brewster's angle? What do you mean by the Brewster's angle or polarizing angle? The angle of incidence at which reflected ray is completely plane polarized is called Brewster's angle or polarizing angle. The angle of incidence at which, for what angle of incidence it is get linearly polarized? The angle of incidence at which reflected ray get completely plane polarized, get completely plane polarized is called polarizing angle, Brewster's angle. Brewster's angle or polarizing angle. Is it? Now, let me discuss what would be the relation in this case polarizing angle to the reflector. Remember, at polarizing angle, reflected ray and refracted ray are perpendicular to each other. These two are perpendicular to each other. Refracted ray and reflected ray gets perpendicular. Okay, then what would be the relation between polarizing angle and refractive index of the second medium? I and that is given by the Brewster, so that we call it as also as a Brewster's law. Brewster's law. So Brewster's law. What is Brewster's law? What is the importance of this Brewster's law? It gives the relation between angle of incidence and refractive index of the second medium. Okay. So according to the Brewster's law, the refractive index of the medium, relative refractive index of the second medium with respect to first medium, is equal to the tangent of the polarizing angle. Refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium is equal to the tangent of the polarizing angle. Tangent of the polarizing angle. Tangent of the polarizing angle. So that is what, let me write the formula in terms of mu is equal to tan IB. Mu is equal to what? Tan IB. Is it? Mu is equal to tan. Now let me try to get the relation between angle of incidence and angle of refraction or polarizing angle or Brewster's angle to the angle of refraction, or what would be the angles between those two at the polarizing angle. Now from Brewster's law, mu is equal to what you know, tan angle. But remember, according to the Snell's law of the refraction, what is refractive index? From Snell's law of refraction, what you know, mu is equal to sin IB by sin R. Sin IB by sin R. Now you equate first one and second one. You equate first and second equation. Then from 1 and 2, what we can write? Sin I by sin R is equal to what we can write? Tan IB. Sin I by sin R is equal to IB, IB by sin R is equal to what do you know? Tan IB. Tan IB is equal to what we can write? Tan that is equal to sin theta by cos theta. So let me write here sin IB by cos IB. Sin IB by cos IB. Now sin IB get cancelled. So that what can write here? Sin R is equal to cos theta can be written as sin 90 minus theta. So that I am writing here sin 90 minus IB. Cos IB only I have written as cos IB. Sin R is equal to cos IB. So cos IB I have written as what? Sin 90 minus IB. Sin 90 minus theta, cos theta. Then what we can write here? R is equal to 90 minus IB. Now you bring this minus IB to this side, what would be happen? R plus IB is equal to what? 90 degrees. Is it 90 degrees? Now this angle plus this angle how much? 90 degrees. Then what would the angle between these two? 90 degrees. That means get polarizing angle, reflected ray and refracted ray are perpendicular to each other. The sum of the refracted and polarizing angle is equal to how much? 90 degrees. So this is what's very important term, a very important point we have to remember, that a polarizing angle reflected ray is perpendicular to the reflected ray is perpendicular to the what? Refract. Is it? So that's what we have to understand. Okay, let me tell. At polarizing angle only, this reflector is completely plane polarized. Now, if the angle of incidence is less than the polarizing angle, or if the angle of incidence is greater than polarizing angle, what will happen? Again, the degree of polarization will be changed. That means, in that case, reflected ray and refract both are partially polarized. If angle of incidence is less than IB or greater than IB, both reflected ray and refracted ray are partially polarized. Reflected and refracted ray are partially polarized. Partially polarized. So this is what, how to get the polarized light by the reflection. How to get, whenever the light ray passes from one medium to the another medium, a part of light gets refracted and a part of light gets reflected. Now the angle of a particular angle of incidence, the reflected ray is completely plane polarized, and this angle of incidence is called polarizing angle or Brewster's angle. At Brewster's angle, reflected ray and refracted ray are both perpendicular to each other. And what would be the refractive index of medium? From Brewster's law, we have written mu is equal to tan IB, and by applying Snell's law, so that we have arrived that the refracted and reflected ray are perpendicular to each other. Then, what is one more method? Some more methods we will discuss how to get the plane polarized light by others. Let me discuss how to get the polarized light from the refraction. Polarization by refraction. Polarization by refraction. Polarization by refraction. So in this case, what we do means we will take 30 to 20 to 30 microscope slides will be taken. So microscope slides, and they are pile of microscope slides are taken. Microscope slides, pile of microscope slides are taken. So these are arranged like microscope slides we have taken. Then, so what will be happening? Let us take an unpolarized light. An unpolarized light is made to incident on this one. An unpolarized light is made to incident on this one. So whenever we have taken this unpolarized light, here 57 degrees. At 57 degrees. Whenever unpolarized light is made to incident on these slides at 57 degrees, then the light gets reflected. Reflected light is completely plane polarized, which is perpendicular to the plane of the paper or plane of the incident. So this is what perpendicular reflected light is. But during what will happen? This is what here 57 degrees. 57 degrees. Now, the light, whatever the light is refracted, the refracted light is not completely plane polarized, but because of we have number of microscope slides. Then through each slide, the light gets refracted, and the light which is emergent light will be whatever the emergent light also polarized in the plane. So polarized in the plane of the paper, yeah, perpendicular to the plane. That's what we have see. whenever we have taken a pile of the microscope slides which are arranged at an angle so that the light is incident at 57 degree for glasses lens. For water, if the light is incident at 53 degree, then the light refracted light is completely plane polarized, and this is what we can get the polarized light even by refraction also. Now, one more method we'll see polarization by scattering. Polarization by scattering. Whenever whatever we are getting the light from the sun, whatever we are getting light from the sun, that is ordinary light. Ordinary light, which will be having ordinary light or unpolarized light, and this unpolarized light is incident into the atmosphere. Then whenever it passes through the atmosphere, what will be happen? And it will be scattered by the atmospheric molecules or water droplets or dust particles, whatever may be. Then whenever it is scattered, will absorb and scatter. Then so because of this one, a part of the light is gets polarized, and that light is gets polarized to an observer. Then unpolarized light, which is passes through this atmosphere, dust particles, and it will be scattered. When it is scattered, a part of light will be unpolarized, will become polarized, completely polarized. Is it? And even we get the polarization by double refraction. Double refraction. Double refraction. So whenever we have taken a tourmaline or calcite, tourmaline crystal, and this double refraction is given by the Bartholinus. Whenever an unpolarized light is incident on this one, whenever an unpolarized light is incident, what will happen? Generally, we know that one. A part of the light gets refracted, and a part of the light gets will be only refracted. And even you can see that the light which gets refracted will be having less speed compared to the outside. They are depending upon the medium. And even we know because of this change in speed of the light with the medium, the light rays will be refracted. Light rays what? Refracted. But from the double refraction, which is given by the Bartholinus, he said that one, the light will be get refracted 2 times. Is it? Refracted by 2 times. And one ray which will be refracted, that is what we can say ordinary ray. And the light ray which is not changes its direction, so it will be refracted into 2 light rays. One is refracted by following laws of refraction, and another one is which does not follow the laws of refraction, so it passes slightly. Then we call it as extraordinary ray. Ordinary ray and extraordinary ray. So what will happen here? The light gets polarized, which is this polarized. Here also light gets polarized. That means light gets polarized into two. One is ordinary ray and extraordinary ray. That is what here two plane polarized. One is normal to the plane of the paper, and one is in the plane of the paper, and which is ordinary ray, which is polarized perpendicular to the plane of the paper. And you can observe that the refracted ray, both the refracted rays will be both are equal intensity, equally polarized. Is it? So ordinary ray follows laws of refraction, but extraordinary ray does not follow laws of refraction. So that you can observe, even the speed of light is same along the path of the ordinary ray, but whereas for extraordinary ray the speed is different at different points. It is different at different points. Is it because of this one? When we observe any object through this calcite or tourmaline or quartz crystals, so that when an object is dot is observed through the crystals, what type of crystals? Tourmaline, quartz, nickel or calcite crystals. Then you can, when we observe this dot or object, then you can observe two dots. And out of those two dots, one is formed due to ordinary refraction and other one is due to extraordinary refracted ray. Is it? Ordinary ray, extraordinary ray. So what will happen? Now, if you want to observe this object, tip of this one, and we have a crystal tourmaline or calcite water we have, and whenever this crystal is rotated, you can see that two dots with one is fixed, one is not rotated. That is what the image formed to be ordinary ray does not rotate. Whereas one more dot which would be rotated with respect to the around the ordinary ray. Is it? Because of this refraction or polarization of the light. So when an object is observed through the tourmaline crystals such as quartz, calcite and nickel, whatever we have, an object, two images are observed, two dots are seen with two dots are seen. Now when crystal is rotated, when the crystal is rotated, that one, so one is rotated, which will be rotated, one will be rotated, which will be rotated, image formed to extraordinary ray, image formed to extraordinary ray is rotated around one dot. So one dot, this dot is nothing but what? It is formed due to ordinary ray. It is formed due to ordinary ray. So that we got here birefringence or double refraction. So that means we got the polarized light in two light rays. One light ray split into two light rays, but both are polarized with equal intensities of the polarization. So these are the methods what we have to get the polarized light in these topics. Then let me discuss next topic to this. We know that just we have seen that the light will get polarized by the different methods. Then whenever the light passes through the some crystals like a tourmaline or calcite or nickel, whatever it may be, then what we know, if it is a tourmaline or calcite crystal, and this is what we know pass axis of the polaroid. The pass axis or optic axis of the polaroid. Now this is one polaroid. This is one polaroid. Now whenever an unpolarized light is, polarites are used to get the linearly plane polarized light. So whenever an unpolarized light or ordinary light is made to incident on a polaroid, what will happen? Let me take here unpolarized light. Unpolarized light, ordinary light or unpolarized light, ordinary light. Is it? Now, whenever this ordinary light is incident on these crystals or polaroid, a part of the light means half of the intensity of light gets polarized. Half of the intensity of light gets polarized. Then what happens? Half of the light gets polarized. Partial. Like if the intensity of this light is intensity of light is I0. Now the intensity of light is here I1, that is equal to I0 by 2. So what will be happen? The intensity of the polarized light is half of the intensity of the light. That means 50% of the light, whatever it is incident on this crystal, will get polarized. How much is it polarized? 50%. Now let us take, this is what we have crystal. Now the larger light is incident. So what will be the emergent light? What will be the emergent light now? 50% get polarized. Now if you rotate this polaroid, which is first polaroid P1, if you rotate the polaroid this one, then there is no change in the intensity of the polarized light. Is it okay? Even when an unpolarized light or ordinary light is incident on a polaroid P1, we have taken here P1. 50% of light gets polarized. 50% of light gets plane polarized. Is it? Even if you rotate this polaroid, there is no change in intensity of the light. Even if P1 is rotated, there is no change in intensity of light. There is no change in intensity of polarization. Intensity of polarization. There is no change in intensity of polarization. But I have taken one more crystal, one more polaroid, P2. So this is what P2. And for this P2, here pass axis of the polaroid. We know this is what pass axis of the polaroid P1, and this is what pass axis of the polaroid P2. Now, the amplitude of the vibration, whenever we have taken this one, the electric field vector gets vibrated. So whenever the electric field vector is vibrated, now what will be the amplitude of vibration? If you are taking this is what the amplitude of the electric field vector which is along the polaroid P1. Now if it is the electric field vector along the polaroid P2, now if the theta is the angle between the axis of the pass axis of the polarized P1 and P2. Now we take the component of the electric field vector of the polarized P2 in the direction of the pass axis of this P1. So P1 and it is P2. Now what will be the component A means? What will be the component of the electric field vector in this direction? A cos theta. A cos theta. Therefore, what will happen here? Half of the 50% of light get polarized. Then what happened to the emergent light? The emergent light also get polarized. That is depending upon the angle between the polarizer to the analyzer. Is it? And remember, only along the pass axis, the light which is passing through the parallel to the pass axis will get polarized, and remaining all other components of the electric field vector gets stopped by the crystal. So that what would be the emergent intensity of polarized light depends upon what? Depends on rotation of P2 with P1. So when we rotate the second Polaroid with respect to the first one, so that what would happen? There is a difference of the angle between P1 and P2. Therefore, the emergent light gets polarization is different than that of the incident light. Here polarizers are nothing but like a transparent sheets. Even if you take two transparent sheets like window panes, for that we have a not exactly transparent, but a part of light is translucent, like that we have. And those two shades, you take two sheets and you gradually rotate one of the sheet you fix, and you rotate that second sheet with respect to this one. Then you can observe that intensities of the light, some darkness and brightness will be changed. Then what will be the intensity of the emergent light? And this is explained by the Malus. So that we call it Malus law of Malus. What is the law of Malus? The intensity of the emergent light is directly proportional to the square of the cosine angle between polarizer to the analyzer. Analyzer represents which is analyzed the light pass from the polarizer. That is what we call say Malus law. What is Malus law? The intensity of polarized light or emergent light. The intensity of emergent light is directly proportional to the angle between the pass axis of the polaroid and analyzer. Proportional to the square of the cosine angle. Between polarizer and analyzer. Polarizer and analyzer. So this is what we got to say analyzer. Then polarizer and analyzer. So what we have take? I is directly proportional to here, which is nothing but I naught is intensity of light. Initial intensity of light is I naught by 2. Then what will be the intensity of the emergent light? I naught is directly proportional to some constant k into A naught cos theta whole square. Here it is A naught by, here intensity is what? A naught by root 2. Here A naught by root 2 is the amplitude. Here it is what? A naught by root 2 cos square theta. Is it okay? Then what we have here? A naught by root 2. Otherwise we can take, so let me take here I1. In terms of this one, I is equal to I1 cos square p. Is it? Or here it is what? A1 cos square theta. A1 means what? A naught by root 2. Here I1 is not I1 is nothing but what? I naught by root 2. Is it? Because remember that one, intensity is directly proportional to the square of the amplitude. Intensity is directly proportional to what? Square of the amplitude. Then what we have here, where I is intensity of the emergent polarized light. Intensity of emergent polarized light. Is it? I1 is a intensity of the polarized light from P1. Intensity of the polarized light from P1, which is theta is the angle between pass axis of the polarized. Theta is what? Angle between pass axis of the polarized. Pass axis of polaroids. So this is what the important thing. Malus are very important thing to get what will be the intensity of the emergent polaroid. So let me discuss one example based on this polarized light, which is Malus law. Let us see, for a given medium polarizing angle is 60 degree. 60 degree. So IB is equal to 60 degree. What will be the critical angle for this medium? Tell me, from Brewster's law, what we know? Brewster's law, mu is equal to tan IB. Then mu is equal to what we have? Tan 60. Tan 60 by root 3. Refractive index equal to root 3. But what will be the relation between critical angle and refractive index? We know that mu is equal to 1 by sin c. Sin c represents critical angle. Then what we can get here? Sin c is equal to 1 by mu. Is it? That is 1 by root 3. 1 by 1.732, which would be around 0. Sin c is equal to 0.556 sin c. Then c is equal to sin inverse 0.556. 0.5 means we know sin 30 1 by 2. What we get here, around 35 degree 60 means is the critical angle. Similarly, we'll see that a light has amplitude A and angle between analyzer and polarizer is 60 degree. Light is transmitted by the analyzer has the amplitude, which is nothing but the emergent light or the transmitted light intensity. From Malus law, what is Malus law? I is proportional to I1 cos square theta. I is equal to I1 cos square theta. Whereas I1 is nothing but what we know again? I naught by 2. Then I is equal to I naught by 2 cos square 60. That is equal to I naught by 2 into cos 60. Cos 60 1 by 2. 1 by 2 also means what? 1 by 8. So 1 by 4. Then I naught by 8. So we got intensity is I naught by 8. Then what about the amplitude? Known already. Intensity of transmitted light. But they are asking amplitude. We know already. A is directly proportional to what? Root I. Then A transmitted light. This is nothing but transmitted. A is equal to I naught by 8. That is equal to what again here? I naught by root I naught, which is nothing but A by 2 root 2. I naught is proportional to what? A square. I naught is proportional to A square. Then A square by 8, which is nothing but A square by 8. I naught is proportional. Then I is equal to root over I naught by 8. I naught by 8 which is equal to A by 2 root 2 is the amplitude of the transmitted light. So this is what we have discussed about the polarization. And so in this topic, wave optics, which is based on the wave nature, interference diffraction gives the light, shows the wave nature, whereas polarization gives that the light is a transverse wave, that is confirmed by the property of light, which is polarization. So very important topic, and even in the point of view of theory or objective, very important in this chapter, and you have to be perfect in the concept so that you can apply very easily and be perfect in concept.